One tribe, a reminder of a place once lived, where real equality and community existed, free from judgment, free from the system of fear and control, a place where connection can lead to possibilities, and a space where creativity has no restrictions, a path through the unknown, not knowing where one's going to end up, but having the faith of knowing things are going to work out. A realization that the ocean is a thread that connects all the lands and all the tribes of people. A feeling of being connected to something greater than one's own singular life. A greater realization that no man is an island. Instead, a critical piece that makes up this collective consciousness. A part of time where the past, present and future coexist. A place of magic where thoughts become things. A greater understanding that by living in harmony with nature, one gains a healthy mind, body and spirit. A universal space where energy, frequency and vibration merge into one. And a great knowing that together as one, we can make a difference. Welcome to One Tribe.
I think it's more connected than people think. We're connected with our surroundings. We're driven by the weather. Some people are up when the weather's up, down when the weather's down, or vice versa. I personally love it when the weather's extreme, you know, when the surf's extreme. If it's really nasty and hail and windy, I feed on that and I find energy from it. Obviously, I'll kite in those conditions, but I just enjoy those conditions. Or when it's really nice, obviously, I really enjoy it when it's really sunny and beautiful. When it's in the middle, it can be a bit, sort of, don't know where you are, but you know, when there's a lot of energy in the weather, I find I get a lot of energy.
From my grasp, but for you I don't know if the warmth is constant within, and do you depend on it? We stand to choose the road, but we ain't responsible. We sacrifice our goals to get caught up in the superflow. We stand to choose the road, but we ain't responsible. We sacrifice our goals to get caught up in the superflow. We get caught up in the superflow. In the superflow. I live in Santa. I live in Santa. I live in
Are you constantly looking at the wind before you go kiting, and then when you're out on the water, you're looking for the wind patches on the water and you're feeling it and you're feeding from it. So I love kiting because it connects me to the ocean, it gets me out on the ocean, and it lets me jump, and jumping's amazing. You get a rush, you get a lift where you get hoisted into the air, then you get a moment of weightlessness where you're just floating and you're looking down on everything. You've got a great perspective, and then you just glide straight back down. I definitely believe living in a small community is a great thing for everybody. You know, you can live in a city, in a big place, and do a lot of great things. And not that you need to be recognised, but it's great in a small community to do good things and feel the love come back from the community, and they become your friends and your extended family, you know. I think more so not being aware of the story and how it's changing at the time, but just looking back, reflecting, I see the changes and where my story's changed more when I look back and go, wow, I didn't realise at the time, but I started going in that direction, and then that happened and it moved me, and I don't really notice it happening at a time. It's not generally until I look back on my life and see the different paths that I've moved through. It is, and I fall back to the adage that it's not what you play, it's how it's played. So you can get up on stage and be performing, and you can be performing a musical style that you might not necessarily really love, or for a purpose that, you know, it might be for a job or for work, but you can still put it down with passion and play it and put your heart and soul into it, and that's really what people feed on. So it's not what you're playing, it's how you're playing it. So I love music, and I guess I try to express myself when I play music for people. What I really enjoy doing is, you know, moving a room, just being behind a drum kit and having that effect and sweeping the people up and bringing them along with you. So I try to put a lot of effort in and really convey what I'm feeling as I'm playing it down, so I can lift the energy and lift the spirits of the people.
Done a lot of different jobs. I've worked on boats, I'm a coxswain, I'm a carpenter. But I feel that as you go through life, that all the knowledge that you gather along the way, it's all part of your learning. So it's not black and white what you do, it's an accumulative of knowledge that you've learnt over your lifetime. So I think it's just important to finish what you've started and then go on to the next thing. The thing I see is that for the average worker in Australia, that you're that busy working, you haven't got your time to stick your head up and have a look around and see what's going on. So it's part of my thought process is to identify what you're good at and do it, go through with it and do it well, and then you can hopefully contribute and improve the quality of life of someone else and give them the opportunity to stick their head up and have a look around. Community is really important. Like it's a place where people of all ages can earn respect through their knowledge. And I've found in the garden quite often older people, older members of the community linking with younger members, them gaining respect through their knowledge, and it's just a great way of sharing, you know, growing and eating food together. It's one of the basic good things, isn't it? Connection with the ground, and probably also for people that haven't done a lot of it, you know, that food doesn't come in a plastic bag at the supermarket. It comes out of the ground, and working out those seasonal rotations, it's a really, really good learn, and it's just a basic skill that we all should have. We hope to drop a pizza oven in here later and provide a bit more seating and shelter so that there's a place, a meeting place where we can all come together and teach and learn. So hopefully have school groups through and teach them about sustainability, all the layers in sustainability, and get people's hands in the dirt. Probably for me, the connection of the seasons. So just an awareness of what's going on around you, the wind direction, water, it's everything, the sun, the moon. It's just keeping you tuned in, really. Cape Patterson Eco Village, standing in front of the Core 9, which was built by TS Constructions. It's their display home out at the Cape Patterson Eco Village. So the Core 9 basically has been developed with the thing in mind of designing to suit our climate. So the Australian climate on our coast, it's very similar all the way up the east coast. We're right down the southern tip, right down near Wilson's Prom. So it was simply to design houses that are affordable for everyone, for mainstream, and that suit our climate, that protect us against the bad elements and utilise good. It basically falls back onto land, air, water and sun, my thought process as a preliminary designer of the core. Quite often you find you'll discover something that's been discovered before, but that's exciting to know that you're on the right track. But different sites and different clients throw different obstacles at you. No one place is the same, so it's never ending. But I think that in Australia we've had the opportunity to live, or me personally and a lot of my friends, a good quality of life. And I don't see why we can't innovate, why we can't think for ourselves to improve our quality of life. I think so, and I think it's a really good example for a younger generation, for us to create a generational approach and to work as a collective to achieve good outcomes, ultimately improve the quality of life for people living in these houses in Australia. I originally cottoned onto the golden mean ratio, which is 1 to 1.618 for proportional scale, and then I've adapted my own scales or ratios that basically fit in with building increments. So it's not rocket science, and not knowing what something's going to look like, a floor plan, so just putting your mind to it and concentrating on those fundamentals and seeing the shape the next day. That's exciting, but you basically know when you've nailed it, when you've nailed a job and everything falls together. But it's just that process I find really exciting.
I don't know, it's kind of funny, you look at your life and where you're placed and where you were growing up, like growing up at primary school and thinking, what am I going to do? And then you look back to what you have done sometimes as well. And through my building journey, I think I've been a bit of a sucker because I like something different and something a bit more complicated and harder to do, a bit of a challenge. And really kind of started quite a while ago, that sustainable path in building and design, and looked at, okay, what do we need to do? And there's this carbon neutrality, and it's like, oh, we should be doing better than that. So let's be carbon positive. So let's offset kind of from that. So that was kind of one big kind of journey in there. And then it was like, all right, well, kind of achieved that. We've brought in this building biology element and non-toxicity. And it's like, okay, well, what are those kind of 5 most important things of a building, and what can we do to show people that we can do it and that it is achievable? The thickness of the walls, really to get this thing, we had to super insulate and have thermal mass. So the walls are like 500 mil, half a metre thick, like really thick. And they are out of recycled brick, internal skin. And then we have this big insulation bat in there. We have a timber frame, and then we have like a sisolation, and then a batten, and then we have more insulation, and then a counter batten, and then we have like a radial sawn timber, which is 2 layers of timber that's harvested out of a radial log, which is kind of, you have minimal waste from the way you sawmill that as well. And that's the external face with no sealer or no finish, so it just weathers and silvers off naturally. So that kind of makes that wall, and it's beautiful. Like acoustically, you're feeling like you're in this cave inside that's like really quiet, and if it's howling southwesterly, it feels really solid inside. And then you've got this beautiful outside kind of look of like driftwood just silvering off that really tends to blend, and it just looks great in that coastal environment as well. So we looked into it, and I'm like, okay, well, building biology is a huge one. So like non-toxicity for the environment and also for the inhabitant of non-toxic paints and sealers. One was like zero waste, or a zero waste goal as well, because construction just has a huge footprint for waste. The other one was looking at what we could do to have minimal, if no mechanical heating and cooling. So having a home that purely is heated by the natural elements, the sun, wind, and using smart design to shade elements to keep that summer sun out, but also let that hot summer sun out, but the winter sun in to kind of heat mass and everything as well. And another element was just beauty. So we really wanted to get a home that kind of blended with nature and had like a really lovely aesthetic. So we partnered up with Claire Cousins Architects, who just does some amazing work. So we kind of grabbed all that. So it was like 10-star, carbon positive, zero waste, architecturally designed, and building biology in there. We kind of dialed that on almost like a Swiss watch, and it was so hard to get everything to add up. And we finally had it in the design. We worked through budgets, and then we're like, okay, we're ready. Let's put it on the ground, and where do we do it? And it's like, oh, it was just basically straightforward. It's like, oh, the Cape Eco Village, like that's the place to do it. So we did that. We launched it out, and it's been a great success. And it'd be, I don't know, two years, maybe 3 years ago now. And when we got the phone call to like, oh, can you come and have some shots on there? We're like, wow, the 10-star's still kind of getting coverage. It's like, wow, because it feels for me like a lifetime ago. It's like, oh, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? And stuff as well. So it was just really showing what we could do, and hoping it was a bit of a beacon as well, or breaking the ice kind of, so a lot more can follow through. Down here we got these beautiful southeasterly sea breezes in summer, so knowing that we can allow them to come through to cool the home and have shading for it as well. And we really found a part of that is really connection to nature, is understanding what the weather patterns are doing, what's the wind doing, and then it blends into walking on the beach. What are the tides doing? And I love it because we always kind of preempt our kids, like, so what's the tide doing? Is there much swell? What's the wind? Is it offshore, cross-shore, northeasterly, southwesterly? And I think that's a real element of connecting to nature. So living in a home that has no mechanical heating and cooling, and really relying on the sun and the wind and knowing the weather patterns to close it down or open it up, I think it automatically has this effect on you that you need to connect to nature to understand how to really use the home as well. When it's work time, but I really feel like the weekends are the time where I just completely switch off, phone off, or in the back of the desk and not worry. And I think the more I go out through my life, I kind of realise and try and balance, but it's hard to balance, you know. It's, yeah, if you take on too much and that real kind of bring it back to simplicity as well. So yeah, I don't know if there's any proper solution to finding the perfect balance, but I'm kind of loving at the moment, you know, as long as I can get in the water at least once or twice a week, spend good quality time with the kids and Ali and Daisy, the new pup, and see our family and just kind of allow yourself to heal and relax. I think that's just, yeah, ultimately what I kind of love.